My name is Natalie Pierce. I'm 34. I've spent my entire adult life building something solid, something no one could take from me. While most people my age were discovering themselves through college majors and summer internships, I was sweeping floors at a diesel fleet maintenance shop, trying to ignore the smell of oil that never left my clothes. I started at the very bottom: 80-hour weeks, busted knuckles, burns that scarred, nights where I came home too tired to eat. I lived in a one-room studio above a shuttered laundromat where the pipes rattled and the windows leaked. But I was stubborn, and stubbornness is its own kind of muscle. By 28, I had saved enough to open my own place. Nothing fancy, just a two-bay garage with buzzing fluorescent lights and a coffee maker older than I was. But it was mine. I built a reputation fast, the mechanic who showed up when the rest of the world slept. Companies came to rely on me. People trusted me. And trust, I learned early, is a currency. Last year, my take-home pay was just under $180,000. Not millionaire wealth, but the kind of stability I used to dream about. I own my shop outright, paid cash after saving for years. I bought a modest three-bedroom house with 20% down. I drive a 2019 Silverado 2500 diesel that I've rebuilt twice myself. 0 car payments. And I protected everything. My father, beautiful, stubborn man, lost everything at 49 during a brutal divorce, the kind where someone weaponizes your bank account and your heart at the same time. I promised myself I would never make that mistake. So when I met Ethan Ward, I kept my boundaries clear. We met at a charity car wash. He was there helping set up signage for the event planning company he worked for. I rolled in with a truck coated in grime from a blown diesel pump I'd spent 12 hours wrestling with. He laughed and asked, "Do you want the truck washed or yourself?" For some reason, I laughed back. Ethan was 31 then. Organized, warm, social. He could talk to strangers like they were old friends. He made around $42,000 a year, worked long hours, setting up weddings and corporate events, and could fold linen napkins into shapes that belonged on magazine covers. He said he admired my work ethic, said he'd never met someone so determined. And I believed him. We grew close slowly. Coffee dates after his events, late dinners where we talked about our childhoods, weekend drives when our schedules aligned. He came by the shop with lunch for me and my crew. He helped me carry heavy parts when a delivery guy dropped them too far from the bay doors. He fit himself neatly into my world, like he'd been carved for it. My best friend and head tech, Jared, approved too. Jared is the kind of man whose loyalty runs bone deep. He told me Ethan seemed grounded, not immature, not reckless. For almost 2 years, things were good. Simple, steady, hopeful. But then, the small cracks. Ethan started commenting on the things he used to joke about. "You always smell like diesel. Your hands are too rough. You work too much. It's not normal. You don't need to pick up every call from clients." He wrapped those comments in soft tones, but they still sliced. I ignored it. We all vent sometimes, right? Then he moved into a new apartment. Nice place, nice area, very not cheap rent. He suggested we move in together to share expenses. When I said I wasn't ready to merge finances or addresses, he smiled. But I saw the hurt. I saw something shift behind his eyes. That's when his nights out increased. Work events that never had photos afterward. His phone started living screen down. Notifications got muted. He angled his body away from me when he typed. He said I was imagining things. I trusted him, or at least I tried. 3 weeks ago, everything snapped. We had dinner plans at a little diner near my house, the place where we had our first real date. He texted at 5:41 p.m. "Emergency at work, might be late." I told him not to worry. Event planning could get chaotic. But something felt wrong. At 8:47 p.m., he sent another message. "Still running late, might not make it, sorry." And then nothing. Something in me, a quiet, instinctive warning, made me check Instagram. I don't stalk people. I don't snoop. But one of Ethan's coworkers, Vanessa, had posted a story. Bright lights, loud music, people dancing. And then the second clip, Ethan, laughing, at a concert, pressing close to a woman with long auburn curls. His ex-girlfriend, Brielle Knox, the one he said was toxic, the one he swore he'd blocked. Her hand was on his chest, his arm around her waist. My breath left me. Not in a dramatic way, more like someone cracked open a window in the dead of winter and all the heat escaped. I checked my location sharing with him. He'd turned it off that same day. Quiet betrayal always comes dressed as routine. My father used to say that. I took screenshots. Then I took screenshots of those screenshots. Timestamps, captions, everything. I sat in my truck behind the shop feeling nothing. No tears, no screaming, just clarity. Cold clarity. At 11:56 p.m., Ethan texted, "Home, crazy night, talk tomorrow?" I didn't reply. I spent 3 hours making a plan, not revenge. A clean, silent exit. Resecure all my accounts. Back up every text from the last 6 months. Document everything. Schedule a locksmith. Pack Ethan's things neatly, methodical, calm. At 6:30 a.m., I called Jared. He answered groggy. "You okay?" "Not really. Can you come over?" "Give me 10 minutes." That's why he's my family. At 2 p.m., Ethan was coming to the shop. At 1 o'clock p.m., the new locks clicked into place on my front door. At 1:38 p.m., I posted a black Instagram story with white text. When someone shows you who they are, believe it the first time. No names, no drama, just truth. At 2 o'clock p.m., Ethan pulled into the shop parking lot. He had no idea his life was about to change. Ethan stepped into my office with that nervous half smile people wear when they know something is wrong, but are hoping, praying, it isn't as bad as they think. "Hey," he said softly, like we were fine. "What did you want to talk about?" I didn't sit. I didn't invite him to. I just reached into my back pocket, pulled out my phone, and opened the screenshot. I turned the screen toward him. Concert looked fun. His entire face drained of color, then flushed red, then tightened into defensiveness, all in 3 seconds. It was almost impressive how fast guilt can shapeshift. "Oh my God," he scoffed. "Seriously, you're mad about that?" "Not mad," I said. "I'm done." The air shifted. He blinked. "Done? Natalie, it was just a concert." "You turned off your location sharing," I said calmly, "because you knew what you were doing." He sputtered. "I only turned it off because you get weird about me hanging out with people." "You lied about where you were." "I didn't lie," he insisted. "I just didn't tell you because I knew you'd react like this." Jared appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, wiping grease off his hands. He didn't say a word, just stood there, steady as steel, a witness. Ethan glanced at him and panicked harder. "You're seriously doing this in front of him?" I handed Ethan my truck keys. "Your things are at my house, packed by the door. You can pick them up now." "You packed my stuff?" His voice cracked. Wait, are you breaking up with me over nothing?" "Over the lie," I said. "Pick one lie or the other, but I'm not staying for any of them." "This is insane," he snapped. "You're being insecure." There it was, the word that had been simmering for months. He knew exactly how to use it. The word meant to twist my reality, make me question what I see with my own eyes. I didn't rise to it. "You need to pick up your things today," I said simply. "The locks have been changed." He stared at me, stunned. You did what?" "Change the locks. Leave your key on the counter." "You're acting like a—" He stopped himself. Maybe Jared's presence helped, but the damage was already done. Ethan grabbed the keys, spun on his heel, and stormed out. Tires screeched as he peeled out of the lot. Jared let out a low whistle. That went better than I expected. "It's not over yet," I murmured. He nodded. "No, it's not." And he was right. The text started within minutes, 2:47 p.m. "I can't believe you're doing this over nothing." 3:15 p.m. "We need to talk about this like adults." 4:02 p.m. "I'm sorry, I should have told you about the concert. But changing the locks? Natalie, come on." 5:33 p.m. "Please just call me." I didn't respond. I screenshotted everything, added them to the documentation folder. Then the social media waves began. Vanessa DM'd me. "Hey, Ethan is freaking out. Can you talk to him?" Ignored. Another message from one of Ethan's newer friends. "You're ruining his life over a misunderstanding." Ignored. But then something unexpected happened. People who'd known Ethan longer started messaging me with warnings. Brielle's been trying to crawl back into his life for months. He told us he hasn't gotten over her. He kept saying you were too busy for him. So the concert wasn't an accident. It was a reunion in its making. My silence didn't just speak, it exposed him. The next morning, meltdown phase 1. I woke up to 14 messages from him. Long ones, emotional ones, manipulative ones. "I messed up. I should have told you. Brielle and I are just friends now. It wasn't a big deal. Please, we've been together for 3 years. Don't throw it away over one misunderstanding." Still no response. At 11 a.m., my phone lit up again. Ethan's mom. I stared at the name, unsure whether to answer. I finally picked up. "Hi, sweetheart," she said gently. "Ethan called me crying. He said the two of you broke up." "We're not compatible anymore," I replied. She exhaled slowly. "I don't know what happened, but I want you to know, a pause. You were always good to him. That sentence hit harder than expected. After the call, I went back to work, closed tickets, checked jobs, talked to customers, tried to breathe normally. By that afternoon, Ethan's Instagram went private. He deleted photos of us, posts from trips, stories with my shop in the background. But deleting something online is pointless. Half the people who followed him had already seen everything. The exposure. The real blow landed when one of his old friends posted a screenshot of Ethan texting Brielle, flirting, coordinating the reunion, planning the concert meetup. Caption: the truth always comes out. The internet turned on him overnight. 3 of his friends unfollowed him publicly. 2 reached out to apologize to me. Someone tagged him with, "Loyalty isn't a personality trait. You either have it or you don't." On day 3, Ethan showed up at my shop unannounced. Jared spotted him first. "You got a visitor," he muttered. "Want backup?" I shook my head. Ethan looked like he hadn't slept, eyes red, shoulders tense. "Please," he said, "just 5 minutes." "You have 2. He swallowed hard. "I messed up, Natalie. I know that. But it wasn't what it looked like. Brielle and I just ran into each other." Vanessa's caption said, "Surprise reunion. That's not running into someone." He shut his eyes tight. "Fine," he whispered. "We talked beforehand, but it wasn't romantic. You turned off your location." "I only did that because I knew you'd react." "You lied," I said gently, "and I'm not staying with someone who lies." He stepped closer. "I didn't want to lose you. You lost me when you told me I was insecure instead of telling me the truth." Tears slid down his face, and for a moment I felt the ghost of sympathy, but not enough to stay. "We're done, Ethan." He broke, visibly, painfully, but that was no longer my responsibility. He left quietly this time. Jared came out a minute later. "He'll blow up your phone again," he said. I know. He was right. The call that changed everything. 2 days after the confrontation, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. It was Ethan's father. "Hi, Natalie," he said. "I'm not calling to intervene. I just want to apologize for my son's behavior." I stood frozen. "He's been lying to us too," he admitted. "Told us he was committed to you, but I guess his actions spoke louder." I didn't know what to say. "You deserve better," he said softly. "If you walked away, I understand completely. We'd have done the same." He hung up. And for the first time since everything happened, I felt something like peace. This wasn't just a breakup. It was the moment I stepped back from a man who was already burning his own life down. And I hadn't said a single cruel word. The weeks after the breakup didn't feel dramatic or heavy. They felt quiet. Not empty, just quiet. Quiet like stepping out of a storm you didn't realize you were standing in. I threw myself into work. Routine became comfort. The rhythmic clang of tools, the hum of engines, the steady back and forth banter with my crew, it grounded me. My shop wasn't just a business. It was the life I'd fought tooth and nail to build. And oddly enough, my life started leveling up the second Ethan was gone. The rebuilding. A week after everything blew up, I received an email confirming a major fleet contract I'd been chasing for months. $80,000 annually. Stable work for 3 years. The kind of deal that could change the trajectory of the shop. I hired a new technician, Tommy, fresh out of technical school. Nervous, eager, everything I was at his age. Jared took him under his wing like an older brother. Watching them work side by side made me realize something quietly beautiful. I wasn't just building engines. I was building futures for the people who trusted me. I paid off another chunk of my mortgage, ordered new diagnostic equipment, started hitting the gym again, mostly because Jared bullied me into it. "You gotta stop lifting transmissions and pretending that counts as cardio," he said. He wasn't wrong. The weight I'd been carrying, emotional, invisible, began to drop off me. You don't realize how heavy it is to constantly doubt yourself until the source of your doubt is gone. Ethan's slow collapse. Meanwhile, Ethan's life unraveled. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slowly, like thread pulling from a sweater. I didn't seek updates, but information found me anyway. Friends, acquaintances, people who loved gossip too much to stay silent. Brielle dumped him within 2 weeks. Not surprising. She reportedly told him, "You're too much drama." Coming from her, that was practically poetic. He tried posting vague, sad quotes. He tried posting gym selfies. He tried posting about healing. But everyone had seen the screenshots. Everyone knew the truth. His Instagram engagement tanked. Friends began drifting. The friend group split clean down the middle. Then came the job loss. His event company let him go after a string of unprofessional incidents. No one gave details, but I could guess. emotional spiraling, missed shifts, poor performance. He moved back in with his parents, the same parents who had gently apologized to me for his behavior. Meanwhile, I kept rising. The first encounter. About 2 months after the breakup, I ran into Ethan at a gas station. Total coincidence. I was filling up after a long day at a job site, diesel grime on my arms, hair in a messy bun, sweat drying on my neck. Ethan was at the next pump with some guy, tall, clean-cut, office worker type, probably a friend trying to drag him back into normal social life. When he saw me, Ethan froze. Then he attempted a smile, a small broken one. "Oh, hey," he said. "Hey," I answered, finishing my fuel. Silence. Thick, awkward silence. "How have you been?" he asked. "Good. Busy with work." "You look," he hesitated, "happy." "Thanks." I capped the tank, got into my truck, and drove away without another word. My heart didn't race, my hands didn't shake. There was no spark of anger, no echo of grief. He was just someone I used to know. An hour later, he texted, "It was good seeing you. You look really good." I stared at it, then deleted it without replying. Peace, growth, and choosing better. 3 months in, life just felt natural again, balanced. I started dating, slowly, cautiously, intentionally. A woman named Amy from the parts supplier asked me out. Sweet, grounded, independent, owned her own house, had her own career, didn't need saving, and didn't want to be rescued. We got coffee, talked about everything except breakups and exes. She treated me like a human being, not a lifeline. It was refreshing. No games, no guilt, no emotional landmines. I wasn't ready for anything serious, and she respected that. Meanwhile, my business continued to thrive. We serviced our 500th fleet vehicle, and Tommy rang a brass bell we'd hung in the break room for milestones. The whole team cheered. I stood there, smiling in a way I hadn't felt in years. "You know what I respect about how you handled the breakup?" Jared said quietly as we cleaned up after the celebration. "What?" "You didn't burn him down. You just stepped aside and let him do it himself." I looked at him. "You stayed silent," he said. "That takes strength most people don't have." He was right. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just walking away and letting the truth echo behind you. The final collapse. By month 5, the full truth about Ethan surfaced from a mutual acquaintance. He hadn't just reconnected with Brielle. He'd been messaging her long before the concert, flirting, complaining about me, testing if the door to his past was still open. When the screenshots emerged, Ethan and 3 friends got into a massive argument. He accused them of sabotaging his happiness. They accused him of using me and lying for months. 2 more people cut him off after that. His social circle shrank to almost nothing. And me? I was thriving. New contracts, new equipment, a healthier body, a quieter mind, a more peaceful home. He had dug his own hole. All I had done was stop climbing in with him. The last time I saw him, it was at a Mexican restaurant. I was there with Amy. Ethan walked in with 3 of the last friends who still tolerated him. He saw me. His face went through 5 emotions in 3 seconds. Shock, panic, regret, longing, pain. Amy nudged me gently. "That's him, isn't it?" "Yeah. He looks miserable." "He does." "You doing okay?" I smiled, completely. As we walked out, I passed his table without looking at him. Not out of cruelty, just indifference. That's the real final chapter of a toxic relationship. When you don't hate them, you don't love them, you don't think about them, you simply don't care. Epilogue, silence as closure. 6 months after the breakup, I wrote this because someone asked me how I handled it so cleanly. The answer is simple. I handled it strategically, not emotionally. I protected my life. I kept my dignity. I didn't argue, didn't scream, didn't beg, didn't chase. I let his own actions reveal everything. And when the dust settled, the truth was painfully obvious. I didn't lose him. I dodged him. My silence wasn't revenge. My growth was.